Airport security of Reddit. What's the weirdest experience you had while scanning luggage? Chinese people on board a security TV shows. Did you pack any food? No opens luggage 40 kilos of banned food items. I wasn't security, but I was the passenger. I put my pocket belongings in the front pocket of my bag as they recommend, and I put it through the metal detector. As it came out, they took it, and the guy called his superior. Now, mind you, I travel a good amount for work, and I sensed something was off, because he didn't have the regular business as usual look to him. Anyways, they opened the bag and a couple seconds later, they both started laughing hard. The guy came back with my stuff, and told me that the way my keys and phone landed in the pocket, it looked exactly like a handgun on the X-ray. A dead squirrel stuffed in a bottle of soda. No joke. This happened recently. In the early 90s my family and I are trying to get back to the USA from Paris. At the airport they scanned all our luggage as part of the routine even back then. During the process the officials got pretty excited / upset / surprised we didn't speak much French, and they spoke little English, but a number of them crowded around the monitor for one suitcase. They finally brought me over to the screen and pointed to an image on the X-ray. At the bottom of my wife's suitcase it appeared to be an outline of a pistol. As it turned out, it was my wife's curling iron with power cord rolled up just right, but I couldn't make them understand what I was trying to tell them, so I just pretended to curl my hair, like I've seen my wife do with the thing. They started laughing, and were so relieved it was nothing, so we were on our way quickly after that. Back when flying was actually fun. My brother once found an entire goat in a suitcase. I think they were going to eat it. Human skull. Passenger claimed to be a brain surgeon and used it as a teaching aid. There's a German security officer and bomb squad leader out there that can tell you the story of how I forgot I had a grenade-shaped lighter in my backpack as I went through the security checkpoint. 9 times out of 10 it's an electric razor. But, every once in a while, it's a dildo. Of course, it's company policy never to imply ownership in the event of a dildo. We have to use the indefinite article, a dildo, never, your dildo. I just want to know why, when working construction on airports, I have to go through the metal detector and have my hard hat / safety vest / boots scanned, but our big job boxes get to sail on past without even a gander on what's inside. I once saw an elderly Chinese lady bring a pizza on a domestic US flight, and they had to roll the box through the scanner, which made my awful morning a wee bit brighter. Some TSA agents had a nice laugh after figuring out the weird item in my bag was just a rather large burrito. I live where there is no Trader Joe's, so when I do visit friends out of state, I bring an extra suitcase and load up. My bag was flagged for inspection after going through the X-ray. So I'm standing there, and the TSA officer takes out my JoJo's cookies, swabs the packaging, checks that it isn't cocaine, and shouts back to the X-ray guy, "Hey, Eric. It was the JoJo's." I went through security once, and they pulled my laptop bag, and were looking through it quite intently. Turns out I had forgotten I had kept a drafting compass in there. You know the scissor-like tool they has pencil holder on one end and a sharp metal point on the other, used for drawing circles. That's right, I said a sharp metal point. They looked at it, and I was expecting them to confiscate it. But they just put it back, and cleared me to fly. I'm thinking to myself, wow, you could probably stab someone in the carotid. Fly here. Was checking in at 4 AM for a flight. Had a firearm in checked baggage. As part of standard protocol, they pulled me aside for a quick verification that it was packed in a locked hard case, and swabbed my fingers. We've found traces of explosive residue like gunpowder. Have a nice day, not even an issue. More of a hilarious brain fart by some poor soul, who's probably sleep deprived and running on autopilot, so to speak. I carried several full kangaroo hides through lax this year. It's asked what's in the roll. Dead kangaroo, I replied. Go on through. I've got one being the passenger and not airport security. My dad, sister and I used to travel a lot. I was probably 7, my second time ever being on a plane. We're in security, send our carry-on bags through, only to be reminded by WhatsApp that I had a little manicure set in my bag with nail clippers, a file, etc. They reminded me by pulling me out of line, searching me in front of everyone, while I'm crying confused as shit. I was mortified to say the least. In the more innocent 1980s we cut some aluminium into the silhouette of a pistol and tucked it inside the lining of my mate's suitcase as he left for his honeymoon. He wasn't amused. He was less amused by the frozen trout somebody snuck into his car, which didn't last too well parked in the sun for 2 weeks. I got stopped in Denver once because they thought my underwater camera was a bomb. They all apologized and said, as you can imagine, we don't get a lot of underwater cameras in Denver. Last summer my family and I flew to Singapore. I got my dad a dab cartridge THC concentrate the week prior. He brought it attached to the battery through Singapore customs. They pulled him aside and said, do you have a vape? And he said yes, and they didn't bother to check exactly what it was. Smuggling marijuana into Singapore and punishable by death. When I heard the man ask my dad, my heart stopped. Had a guy ask if it was okay to bring tomahawks through screening. He kept saying it's on the bone. Here I'm thinking it's 6 throwing tomahawks up until he opened his bag to show me. Never have I ever felt more like a dumbus. Moose poop. A guy I work with has a brother who is some big wigger that's he had my coworker bring a pressure cooker with a brig of C4 wrapped in tinfoil and a couple copper wires and a Timex watch hastily shoved into a duffel bag through security in the Cleveland airport. They did catch him, and my coworker only had to spend about 2 minutes in handcuffs. I'm here for the really unique stuff, staying for dildos. My bag was stopped because they saw something unusual inside, and when they opened it, they found a snorkel. So I was traveling with my dad on a domestic flight, and we get to security and my dad always carries food with him. He leaves it in as usual and his backpack goes through. The lady pulls him aside to check his food, to make sure there's nothing funny in the food, and making sure he's not carrying seeds and whatnot. My dad's carrying almonds and the lady takes the almonds out and gives them a very thorough check. My dad, never having that much attention drawn to a bag of his almonds, asked if everything was good, and she says, trying to hold back laughter, your nuts look fine sir. My dad smirks, she's turning a bit red. I'm smirking. We head to our gate. Not me, but my brother, as a passenger, found out the hard way that summer sausage and pepperoni sticks packed in the bottom of a carry-on look like plastic explosives to those ray machines at the airport. It's important that we use the indefinite article of a dildo, never your dildo. I was a passenger flying to Colorado. Took a 2-piece fly rod fishing in a reel-on case. ATSA officer looked at it and said he thought I was transporting a 5-foot-long dildo. I laughed. He didn't. Good times. I think I'm going to lurk for a bit and see if any of you lot happen to inspect my luggage at some point. My uncle works for the airport, and he told me about a person who bought 2 bags, one full of clothes, the other dildos. I once went through airport security with my backpack and the security guard pulled me to the side and took a quick look through my bag, only to pull out a full bottle of barbecue sauce that I had forgot to put in the fridge before going to the airport. Let's see. Baby, living in carry-on. Parents deposited capsule into belt with blanket covering child. Baby, passed on and in a coffin. Was checked in. Airline did not know. Was huge blow up. Hidden in suitcase. Placenta. This one is easy as security. Honestly, I did not care what you took where, as long as it did not kill, maim or blow up the plane in transit. Placenta taken home to the homeland and eaten or buried. Personal fans. R code for personal adult stress reliever. More common in checked-in luggage. Recorders 13 in one bag. I was fortunate enough to witness one of those vibrator in the carry-on pranks. Felt bad for the dude because he looked like he was dying on the inside. Had a gun-shaped pen drive that they first thought was obviously a gun, then a lighter. even after being convinced that it was actually a pen drive, which was way more obvious than they made it, didn't let me carry it. This was on a metro Kinder-like subway station. Had to explain it to two three-wheeler guys outside station to reach my destination. I was the passenger, but I had a wallet pocket knife that costed me $1 that I forgot to leave at home, but on the way there I didn't get caught with it, and the whole trip I still haven't realized it was still in my wallet. On the way back I got it taken away, and I was really confused why they took my wallet, because I didn't take anything out or put anything new in it after my flight. So I could have been a dangerous man on a plane with a 1-inch blade that would have broken if I tried anything, because the housing was cheap plastic. My bag got scanned because I was bringing over a bunch of Kraft mac and cheese. I separated the cheese packet from the macaroni because the cheese pack breaks easily and put it in a Ziploc, and they opened my bag to see what it was. Very embarrassing having them check my bag to see packets of the Kraft mac and cheese as if it were contraband. I had to search through a bag because the machine scanned a person's bag and it looked like they had bullets in their bags. Not bullets, but 6 kilos of Cheeto Puffs.